Chapter 1. Family Time. Section 1. A Glimpse of Family Joy. Location: Vanguard's family house, front yard. Time: day. Scene 1. The soccer game. The sun beat down mercilessly on the front yard, where Zell and his brothers Asriel, Thorn, and Loriel were deeply engrossed in an intense soccer match. The heat did nothing to deter their energy and determination. Their parents, George and Ella, and their younger sister, Amanda, cheered from the sidelines, their voices blending with the rhythmic sounds of feet striking the ball and the occasional grunt of exertion. The lush green grass of the yard bore the marks of their vigorous play, patches of dirt revealing the ground beneath. The game was tight and fiercely competitive, with Zell and Lariel pitted against Thorn and Asriel. Each team demonstrated a mix of skill and sibling rivalry, making for an exhilarating contest. After 20 minutes of a scoreless match, the tension was palpable. The boys' faces were flushed with effort, sweat trickling down their foreheads. Lariel's reluctance to pass the ball, his overconfidence in his dribbling abilities, allowed Asriel's team to gain the upper hand. Asriel, seizing an opportunity from Lariel's mistake, sprinted forward with surprising speed, weaving through the defense to score the first goal with a powerful kick that sent the ball soaring past Zell. By the end of the first half, Asriel and Thorn had firmly established their dominance, leading 4-0. Their teamwork was impeccable, and they capitalized on every mistake made by Zell and Loriel. "What's wrong with you, Lariel? You need to pass me the ball," Zell snapped, frustration evident in his voice as he wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. With a cheeky grin, Lariel replied, "Relax, bro. I've got this," thumping his chest confidently as if to reassure himself more than anyone else. "You clearly don't. We're down by 4, Zell retorted, his eyes blazing with determination and a hint of desperation. The game resumed with renewed intensity. Zell passed the ball to Lariel, who immediately launched an aggressive attack. Ignoring Zell's increasingly frantic calls for a pass, Lariel attempted to take on Thorn alone, showcasing his footwork but ultimately losing the ball in a clumsy maneuver. Thorn intercepted it effortlessly and quickly passed it to Asriel. They moved like a well-oiled machine, their coordination flawless. Asriel shot the ball past Zell once again, making it their 5th goal. "Lariel, help me out," Zell shouted, his voice tinged with a mix of urgency and exasperation as he tried to fend off another attack alone. "You've got this one, bro," Lariel called back, now clearly out of breath and struggling to keep up. Unable to stop the relentless attack, Zell watched in dismay as the game ended with a crushing score of 5-0. The final whistle blew, and the boys collapsed onto the grass, panting heavily. Their parents clapped from the sidelines, trying to lift the spirits of their defeated sons. George, their father, called out, "Great effort, boys. Remember, it's just a game." But Zell's frustration was still evident as he sat on the ground, elbows on his knees, and head hanging low. "We could have done better," he muttered, casting a sideways glance at Lariel, who was busy dusting off his shorts. The game, though ending in defeat for Zell and Lariel, had been an intense display of sibling rivalry and teamwork, a microcosm of the bonds and competitive spirit that defined their family. The sun continued to shine down, but now it felt warmer, more forgiving, as if acknowledging the effort and heart the boys had poured into their game. Scene 2. Parental observation. George, their father, chuckled heartily as he watched the game unfold from the comfort of his favorite lawn chair. The intensity and passion displayed by his sons brought a nostalgic smile to his face. "Lariel certainly knows how to test his limits," he remarked, his voice filled with a mix of pride and amusement. His gaze followed Lariel's daring, but often reckless maneuvers on the field. "You know, Zell has all the makings of a great leader," he added, turning to his wife, Ella, who stood beside him, her eyes twinkling with maternal pride. Ella nodded thoughtfully, her mind drifting to the vivid dream she had recently. I had a vision of him leading troops into battle, she replied, her voice soft yet filled with conviction. She could see Zell's determined face, strong and resolute, guiding others with unwavering courage. He has a natural ability to inspire and lead, she continued, squeezing George's hand gently. It's a gift. George then noticed their youngest, Amanda, watching the game intently from her spot on the picnic blanket. Her wide, curious eyes followed every movement on the field. She was only about a year, 5 months old, but her attention span was impressive. George's heart warmed at the sight of her tiny hands clenched in excitement, her little body swaying slightly with every kick of the ball, as if she were playing along. With a playful grin, George leaned over and whispered to Ella, "Watch this." He approached Amanda slowly, crouching down to her level. "Hey there, princess," he said softly, trying not to startle her. Amanda's eyes lit up as she turned to face him, a bright smile spreading across her face. "Daddy!" she squealed, reaching out her arms. George couldn't resist her infectious enthusiasm. He scooped her up from the blanket, lifting her high into the air. Amanda giggled, the sound pure and joyful, as she clung to his neck. "You enjoying the game?" he asked, kissing her cheek. George smiled, carrying Amanda over to Ella. "Maybe one day you'll be out there, showing them how it's done," he teased, eliciting more giggles from Amanda. Ella watched the interaction with a tender expression, feeling a profound sense of contentment. She reached out to stroke Amanda's hair as George held her. "Our little cheerleader?" she said affectionately. Amanda nodded vigorously. "I want to play too, Mommy." "And you will, sweetheart," Ella assured her, planting a kiss on her forehead. "But for now, how about we go inside and get you some juice?" Amanda's eyes widened with excitement at the prospect of her favorite treat. "Yes, please." George, still grinning, whisked her into the house, her laughter echoing in the warm afternoon air. "All right, juice it is. And maybe we'll find a snack to go with it," he said, carrying her through the doorway. As George and Amanda disappeared into the house, Ella turned her attention back to the game, her heart swelling with love for her family. Scene 3. Tag. Back on the field, Zell confronted L'Oreal with a mix of frustration and determination etched on his face. "This is the last time I'm teaming up with you," he declared, his voice filled with exasperation. L'Oreal, unfazed by his brother's stern tone, flashed a mischievous grin. "You said that last game too, remember?" he retorted, his eyes sparkling with a blend of defiance and playfulness. "Yeah, well, this time I mean it," Zell replied, rolling his eyes dramatically. He couldn't help but let out a sigh, feeling both annoyed and amused by L'Oreal's carefree attitude. As their banter continued, Azriel and Thorn, sensing the tension, decided to join in the fun. "Why don't we switch things up a bit?" Azriel suggested, trying to lighten the mood. "Yeah, let's play a game of tag," Thorn chimed in enthusiastically. "It'll be a nice change and break the tension." Zell, always the one to take the initiative, nodded in agreement. "All right, a game of tag it is." "L'Oreal, you're the first seeker," he declared, hoping the new game would diffuse any lingering frustration. L'Oreal accepted the challenge with a broad smile. "Prepare to be caught," he shouted, closing his eyes and beginning the countdown. 10, 9, 8. The brothers scattered in all directions, laughter filling the air as they sought hiding spots or prepared to dash away. The yard became a playground of excitement and strategy, each boy trying to outwit the seeker. L'Oreal's voice boomed as he reached the end of the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Ready or not, here I come. For the next 30 minutes, the game of tag kept them thoroughly entertained. Lariel darted around with surprising agility, trying to tag his elusive brothers while they dodged and weaved, their movements quick and unpredictable. The competitive spirit reignited in a friendlier, more enjoyable manner. As the sky began to darken, signaling an approaching storm, Ella's voice rang out from the house. "Boys, time to come inside." Her tone was gentle yet firm, a motherly blend of concern and authority. Despite L'Oreal's plea for more time, "Just a few more minutes, Mom," Ella insisted they come in to avoid getting caught in the impending rain. Zell, always the responsible one, nodded in agreement, understanding his mother's concern. "Come on, guys, let's not get sick," he urged, leading the way. As they reluctantly headed indoors, Lariel, never one to miss an opportunity for a challenge, proposed a playful race. "Last one inside has to share their turkey dinner," he shouted, his eyes gleaming with mischief. The boys immediately took off, racing towards the door with renewed energy. Their laughter echoed across the yard, blending with the distant rumble of thunder. L'Oreal, initially stumbling over a loose stone, quickly regained his footing and sprinted to catch up with his brothers, determined not to be the last one. Inside the house, George intercepted Ella as she prepared to guide the boys inside. She gently took Amanda from his arms. "Time for a shower, honey," she said with a warm smile, her eyes twinkling as he looked at her youngest child. Just then, Zell's urgent shout announced their arrival. "We're here," he yelled, bursting through the door with his brothers hot on his heels. They dashed past their parents, making a beeline for the stairs. "Don't forget to shower quickly before dinner," Ella called after them, her voice filled with both amusement and a hint of exasperation. George chuckled as he watched his sons race upstairs, their footsteps thundering through the house. He turned to Ella, who was now setting the table for dinner, and said, "They sure know how to keep things lively around here." Ella smiled, a mixture of love and exhaustion in her expression. "They do, don't they?" she replied, shaking her head slightly as she continued her preparations. "But I wouldn't have it any other way." Section 2, Evening Serenade. Location, Kiria's home. Time, evening. Scene 1, Kiria's harmony. In the tranquil setting of their cozy home, nestled away from the hustle and bustle of the outside world, Kiria and her grandfather, Grandpa Ban, shared a bond that had been forged through trials and strengthened by resilience. After losing her parents in a tragic plane crash, when she was just 3 years old, Kiria found solace in her grandfather's unwavering presence. His steadfast love and support became the anchor she needed in a world that had suddenly become unpredictable and harsh. As twilight settled over their home, casting a gentle golden glow through the windows, Kiria moved gracefully around the kitchen, her every movement a testament to the quiet strength she had inherited from her grandfather. She hummed softly to herself, her headphones on, completely lost in the melodies of her favorite tunes. The music was her sanctuary, a place where she could escape and find comfort amid the rhythms and harmonies. Outside, under the protective cover of a wooden shed, Grandpa Ban tended to his birds. The gentle cooing of the doves and the soft rustling of feathers provided a soothing backdrop to the steady patter of rain on the roof. The birds were a reminder of simpler times, their presence a calming influence on Ban's often turbulent thought. "Grandpa, dinner is ready," Kiria called out, her voice clear and melodious, cutting through the sounds of the rain and birds. "I'll be there shortly," Ban replied, a smile touching his lips as he finished his task. His mind briefly wandered to thoughts of his late wife, whose memory was as vivid as ever. The aroma of the meal Kiria had prepared was a poignant reminder of the past, evoking memories of happier times. When Grandpa Ban finally joined Kiria at the dinner table, the smell of the food enveloped him in a comforting embrace. "Your grandma used to make this dish on our anniversary," Ban reminisced, his eyes misty with nostalgia. "We'd sit under the stars, enjoying each other's company." Kiria nodded, her heart warmed by the shared memory. "I'm glad we can keep her traditions alive," she said softly, her eyes meeting Ban's with a look of deep affection and understanding. Sensing Ban's wistfulness, Korea decided to change the mood. She played some uplifting tunes, transforming the room into a space filled with shared joy and love. The music lifted their spirits, bridging the gap between past and present. As they ate, Ban shared stories of his past, tales filled with adventure, love, and lessons learned. Korea listened intently, her eyes wide with admiration and curiosity. These stories were a treasure trove of wisdom, each one adding to the rich tapestry of their family history. After dinner, Ban prepared for his nightly walk, a routine that had become a testament to his strength and resilience. His steps were steady and purposeful, a reflection of the inner fortitude that had carried him through many hardships. In the depths of Grandpa Ban's past lies a tapestry of sorrow and resilience. He lost his wife and children, with Korea the sole survivor. His wife died 12 years ago from illness, leaving him heartbroken. Since then, he found solace in nightly walks. Though Ban appeared to be a loving grandfather, he was also a master of martial arts, his skills honed over decades of dedication and practice. With humility and an air of mystery, he embarked on his nocturnal journey, his past shrouded in enigma. He can conceal his abilities, moving through the world unseen. He moved through the night with a grace and stealth that belied his age, his presence almost otherworldly. As Ban disappeared into the night, Korea watched from the window, her heart swelling with pride and a sense of peace. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Section 3. The Family Dinner. Location: Vanguard's family house. Time: evening. Scene 1. A lesson to be learned. Back at the Vanguard family house, the cozy kitchen was a hub of activity as they prepared for dinner. The scent of roasted turkey and freshly baked bread filled the air, creating a warm, inviting atmosphere. George held Amanda, who was nestled comfortably in his arms, while the boys Zell, Thorn, Asriel, and L'Oreal sat at the table, their faces flushed from the evening's activities. Ella, moving with practiced grace, brought Amanda's meal to the table, placing it in front of George. "Come here, Cupcake," she said, her voice gentle and soothing as she extended her arms. Amanda clung to George, shaking her head vigorously, her small fingers gripping his shirt. "Well, honey, you'll be feeding her this time," Ella said with a smile, a playful glint in her eyes. George chuckled, nodding in agreement. Amanda, sensing a moment of triumph, reached eagerly for George's spoon, her eyes bright with anticipation. At the other end of the table, the boys were engaged in a heated discussion. "What's going on here?" Ella asked, her eyebrows arching in curiosity as she noted the escalating volume of their conversation. "We had a deal that the last one inside would share their turkey. L'Oreal lost but doesn't want to share," Zell explained, his voice tinged with annoyance. Thorn and Asriel nodded in agreement, their expressions mirroring Zell's frustration. "Is that so, L'Oreal?" George asked, his tone even but firm as he turned his gaze to his son. L'Oreal squirmed slightly under his father's scrutiny. "Yes, Dad," he replied, reluctantly admitting his fault. "You must honor your agreements." "Whose idea was this?" George asked, looking around the table. The boys pointed to L'Oreal. George sighed, shaking his head slightly. "L'Oreal, you made the deal, so you need to keep it. Never break a deal. There are always consequences," he emphasized, his voice carrying the weight of life lessons learned. "I have a question, Dad," Zell interjected, raising his hand slightly as if he were in school. "What if the other party doesn't keep their end of the deal?" Zell asked, his eyes serious and inquisitive. George smiled at his eldest son's thoughtful question. "Always keep your word unless your part depends on theirs. If they break the deal without a good reason, don't deal with them again, he advised, his tone imbued with wisdom. Understood? George asked, his gaze sweeping across the table. Yes, Dad, the boys replied in unison, their voices a chorus of compliance. Satisfied, George invited the family to pray. They gather around the table, hands joined in a circle of unity and love. Amanda, imitating her family, clasped her tiny hands together in prayer, her eyes closed tightly as she mimicked their actions.